He was the movie's #1 special effects man. Now, he's retired.
My kid says you can create any illusion you want to.
5 years I waited. I finally got you.
FX2, The Deadly Art of Illusion.
Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Sequel. This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and typically we do it in 2 parts. And luckily, with the SAG strike being over and the writer's strike being over last month, we got a lot. Jamie's got me working. Lots of interviews. Just finished one with an editor who's worked on films like the Scream movies. We have a pilot, a stunt pilot, and a flight coordinator that does some amazing films, and then a lot more lined up. So this is like, there's a few movies that me and Jamie have wanted to do, so we'll probably toss in those hall pass wild cards every so often. But this week's sequel, I'm really happy that we got to cover it. If you're watching this on video, boom, just so happened our buddy, guest reviewer, he was at a swap meet in Philly, and he picked me up a nice
swap
Death Wish,
like
swap
like
meat.
spouses.
You put your meat down. Yeah,
oh, okay,
yeah.
okay, all right.
So he goes, Doug, do you want any of these? And it was Death Wish 3, like an old MGM Death Wish 3 that looked so cool. And then boom, the sequel we're talking this week, FX2, which, you know what? It's kind of easier to find it on this than anywhere else, because honestly, it's like $15 to buy. And I don't know why. I know it's on the Cinemax, so you can check it out there, but man, I cannot wait to talk about this movie, the special effects portion, the man with the boobs. But before I mention any more of another old man that is banging everything, I got to introduce you to my partner in this sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how you doing?
Doing awesome, Doug. How are you doing?
Dude, where do we go wrong in life? Like when you're in your teens, 20s, you're like, man, I got to look this certain way. I got to work out. I got to do all this. Just get old and gray. And Tom Atkins banging Brian Dennehy, dude. The one girl which we'll talk about her a lot because I had a crush on her, the girl with the glasses. She was easily 30 years younger than him.
Oh, and the fact that he didn't see her for 3 years, and
I know.
and he's like, oh, and she's still like waiting for him. She's still single and waiting for him, and he makes out with her like right away. Like, yeah, oh yeah, we'll get into that.
Jamaica tickets.
You know, so I mean, this is one of the few movies that we reviewed that I've actually seen, because I know I don't see half them horror movies, and I haven't seen it in a long time, and I totally forgot. It's an entertaining movie. There's a lot of dumb things in this movie.
Oh yeah.
But however, the special effects, or I would say, or the things that they do are so advanced for their, it's the first virtual reality. I mean, this is what, it's like early virtual reality when he has that. A lot of this stuff is very cool. The one thing I'm going to say, just based on how he is at his house, he might be one of the most annoying guys probably to be around, because he's probably constantly doing pranks with different kind of just FX stuff, and I'm wondering how he affords that apartment, because it's huge.
Well, they do make a reference to that. Mike, the guy who plays the best sleazy ex-husband cop, I just put in 15 hours. Okay, I'm on my way in. like that kind of guy. But
yeah.
He makes it had something to do with the previous case. So somehow, I guess Rollie, which is a name that we love, from a guy that we used to work with, but I think it's just a great name for a special effects guy. But the fact that, he references that something that happened with the prior case with Brian Denny, he got like a payout from the city, so he was able to get this beautiful.
Okay, that's a pretty big payoff then, because that apartment is. First of all, the fact that he has to have a pole to slide down, or an elevator, really, that's just everything in his life is nonstop special effects, everything. Just ridiculous. So yeah, like I said, it's a very entertaining movie. But there's so many stupid things in this movie that it's so stupid, but still entertaining at the same time.
Oh no, I know, but that's what's funny about it. If I looked at his IMDb, I bet you there's other movies he did after this, but I think it's a damn shame he didn't do more action movies, because
you know what?
He was the perfect guy. I've told you this a million times. My favorite type of action movies, obviously I love Seagal, I love Van Damme, I love all those movies, but I love when it's almost like the accidental action hero because he doesn't know this. That's why he's getting his ass kicked in most fights, and I love that.
Well, I said the same thing. I go, I know he was in Cocktail, and then after,
And there's a cocktail reference in this movie. Did you get that?
Yes, of
How
course.
cool was that?
Yeah. But what else was he in? Because he is a good actor. Him and
100%.
Dennehy are great in the movie. I love Brian Dennehy. He's good in everything. But what else was he in besides Cocktail? This guy should have been bigger.
Agreed. The last I remember him, he's in Along Came Polly. He's the guy that Ben Stiller when he's because he's like the insurance guy and he has to follow him around. Remember, he's like crazy. He's trying to jump off the building. They're trying to figure out how much his life insurance policy should be or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's playing Rollie. He's kind of playing Rollie in the movie.
I think he's the same role he plays in Cocktail. He's playing that cocky, ladies' man kind of guy. He just, but he's good at it. Listen. Anytime you have an Australian accent, you can pretty much do anything you want. Listen, Crocodile Dundee does the same thing, doesn't he? He's the same character, Crocodile Dundee.
He's in Crocodile Dundee?
No, but he's
Oh,
Australian.
you mean Paul Hogan? Oh, he's better than Paul Hogan. Come on.
No, I'm not saying he's not better than Paul Hogan.
Okay,
I'm
good.
just saying, but Paul Hogan also got the ladies, and it's all about the accent, I think.
It's all about the accent. And I love the cast in this movie. Obviously we mentioned Brian Denny, but his girlfriend in the movie is Rachel. She's
Running
in
Man? Running Man.
Total Recall?
Yes. Oh, Total Recall. I'm sorry. Total.
Yeah.
Arnold, same thing.
So much. Joanna Gleason, who plays Liz in the movie, the other lady that Denny is banging. She was in a big what the hell's his name? God, the freaking guy, Woody Allen, the Woody Allen movie that came out a few years before that, Crimes and Misunderstandings, or one of those movies just before that. But and great bad guy too. The guy who plays Salick, the lieutenant.
He plays a lieutenant in every movie. He's a cop, and the one thing about this movie that they really don't care to do is really there's no surprise who the bad guy is. The bad people right off the bat. It's not they could have made Salick again. I mean, he came across a little aggressive, but maybe hidden that a little bit. Even the other girl that he's banging, you knew she was off. You knew there was something with her. It's just they didn't care about the bad guy. There was no. The biggest surprise in there, which really wasn't a surprise, is the fact that when Dennehy was slowly being revealed. First, they see his hand, and he's calling them by name, so it's not like it's going to be a surprise when he does show up, and then making it look like it's a big reveal. There was no reveal. He was there, he kept calling. If he didn't call his name and just left a message without saying Leo, you'd be like, all right, who is this guy? But no, they already told you. And even when he got out of the car, he rolled the window down, it's I don't know. It was they made it big, it was a big, and it was a letdown because you already knew who it was.
I guess it was one of those things you were rooting for, and you obviously when you go to the movie, he's on the poster and he's in the credits, so but he didn't show up until minute 38, and we saw his hand at minute 31, and I bet you that's not his hand. That was a stunt hand. They found some guy and say, "Hey Frank, come over here. We need your hand for a minute. You have a Denny hand."
So you think there's a guy out there that basically in all of Dennehy's movies, that when you only see the hand, it's that guy, it's Frank?
Yep.
Okay.
They hang out, they're buddies, and it's hey, we have a hand scene coming up, and Denny's like, Frank, it's you, buddy.
I don't. Yeah. Then he's like, I don't do hand scenes. Let me bring in Frank.
But no, and his car, and he just plays. I would have loved more movies with him playing that kind of character,
Yeah.
Because it's almost what the hell's the movies with shit. Can't think of his name right now. He was the dad on Titus. He was Detective Mike. He had a detective show in the 80s. But then he would have been great detective, in a TV series, busting people every week.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You just reminded me of something. So the main guy who plays the FX guy, he's like McGyver in this movie. So he's not even he really because the things he does in this movie, he does it in such a short amount of time. I gotta assume a lot of the stuff that he creates would take a long time. Like it's not like
Oh.
and like for instance the stakeout. Like, what do you think that time frame was when he built that contraption, which really was unnecessary? Everything he did for that stakeout or to trap that guy, they didn't need to do 90% of that. I mean,
it was like the next day. It was like something that was
okay.
that quick. That's what I mean.
Right.
He had no time to do that digital scene and like but it looked good, like from the other side.
It looked good, but if that's the case, why do they need a live naked girl there if they're using a video of her anyway?
Oh, why'd she even have to be in the park? I guess I know that was weird too. Why? Why?
Ed, the fact now we're not there yet about his man boobs which really was relevant for anything for that scene because he was wearing a robe the whole time, and why did he need that part of it? Like it made no sense. Like it's almost like he just wanted it for himself. This is my chance to have boobs, and because he didn't need it for that scene at all.
He liked it, but so let's get because there's so many
All right.
scenes we're gonna break down. Did you see who produced this movie? And he's actually in it, but I don't know where. He was like the last name in the credits. Dodi Fayed, Princess
Dodi?
Diana's.
Yeah.
He
sure it's him?
produced this. Unless there's more than one Dodi Fayed.
He's a bodyguard. He's a producer. He was Princess Diana's bodyguard. Like,
So you
he's
don't think it's the
movies?
same guy?
I don't think so.
There's two Dodi. Oh, really? Is there two Dodis?
He's a bodyguard in England. You think he's producing movies?
Okay. But what are the chances of the same exact name?
Well, maybe Dodi Fayed is like very popular in England.
Maybe.
Maybe
So
it's like
it's
John
not
Smith.
the same person?
I mean I don't know, but I can't imagine.
Yeah, I just saw the name and I was like, oh, okay. Because that'd be something if it was the
It
same
would.
guy.
I don't think so.
And that this isn't. Wait, I gotta look this up while I have this on here. Wait. No, same one, dude. Yeah, that's him, the producer.
You're telling me that's the guy that was the bodyguard for Princess Diana.
No, not the bodyguard. This is
Dodi was the one in the car with her, wasn't he?
in July '97. Fayed became romantically involved with Diana, the Princess of Wales. Yeah,
But he was her bodyguard, and they started dating.
he
And
was
he
the
died-
bodyguard.
I think so, and he died in a car crash with her, right? I'm almost
No,
positive he was.
the only survivor was the bodyguard Trevor Reese Jones. Maybe
I
she
thought
had a
Dodi-
fling with a bodyguard too.
I
No,
that's what
Dodi
I
wasn't the
thought.
bodyguard.
I thought he was.
But isn't that crazy? But anyway,
It is-
the fact that
yeah.
his name was in it, and I feel like his name is in the actual like acting credits, so maybe he's like in the background somewhere. But yeah, his dad was like a billionaire, like a oil tycoon guy. But
Okay, so his dad produced it.
his dad probably was the one that produced it.
Okay,
But man,
all right.
insane. And we get this movie. You know what was really cool about this opening? While I'm watching it, I'm like, this feels like a movie. Like,
See-
obviously, I know I'm watching a movie.
No, you know what? I saw the opposite. Well, yes, I mean that felt like a movie. Like I guess the scene, but I felt like it looked like it was like a cop show, like an 80s cop show is what it reminded me of. Like it was a TV show, and I'm like, all right, this whole opening credits is so cheesy. It's like watching NYPD Blue.
Yeah, it was slow. It was like the sexy saxophone kind of thing.
Yeah.
All the views of New York. And then we get this homeless guy who looked like a villain. He was so sweaty. And then you get this
Okay.
woman who had a chin like Robert Zadar.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it was a bizarre that whole like I want to know what kind of movie that again they have something with like men wearing boobs because that robot had boobs that they showed later on. It was just but the special effects was very cool. Like again,
dude.
like
Yeah. So good.
very good. Like I mean I was surprised. When was this movie made? When 91?
91. And you know what's crazy? I was watching the credits at the end because there was a post-credit scene, but it was only 5 seconds long. We'll get to it there. It's not anything good. I was hoping it was better. But I was telling my wife when we were watching it, I'm like, this is why they don't do practical effects anymore. Just for that cyborg scene, that was how long, really? Like 3 minutes that we saw the cyborg? It was like 12 people that worked on just operating it. So it's like, okay, that's why they can't do that. But dude, I don't do windows and throws them through the window.
I want to see that movie. I want to see the movie they were making. Like, that would be great if there was like a side thing where you actually could see like, you know, like a 10-minute clip of their movie. Cause that, I mean, I like, yeah, that was crazy. And it started, I really thought this was part of the movie. Like, before you realized it was a robot, I forgot that they were filming a movie, and I'm like, oh, this is, you know, interesting.
Yeah, I love the cops when you're like, what is happening? And these cops are like saying lines. You're like, this doesn't seem like, it seems like it's like they are acting. Obviously, in the movie they're acting, but it just felt like that. But he goes, "Go back to the future, you inhuman scum."
Isn't it funny that even in like when they're creating a movie, they still have the one-liners, like, you know, as if it was, you know. So yeah. And
then the sleazy director, when it's like, cut, you can't make the car explode when it's supposed to explode. He's like, we're trying. And then it explodes. And then they see, because the cyborg starts like, it's like convulsing, and Rollie just happens to be watching with his girlfriend's kid, and he ruins it, right? He doesn't like disarm it. He pours coffee on the thing, which would, I would think, break it, right?
And the director, like, how many of those do they have? Because it looks like you only get one robot like that per scene. Like, there's no way they're putting that back together. So, like, do they have like a multi? Because I mean, that looks super advanced for like special effects. So, do they have like a lot of those? You know, because the director wasn't happy with the scene. So, like, yeah,
he hated it. But right away, he's like, oh, Rollie Tyler. He goes, I worked with you on Chainsaw Santa. But he turned down the role. He goes, I had this big movie coming out. I love you for it. And he goes, nope, I'm a toy maker now. That's all he does now. He makes toys.
But the toys he makes, if the stuff he has at his house, they seem like they would be super expensive. Like, who's he making toys
what he said.
For?
That's what he said.
Right.
Which is like,
so who's he making it for?
Up. I know. He was like, it's for, real rich kids.
And based on what we see some of the toys do, they seem kind of dangerous.
Oh. Like, is that a thing? Can I, like, we're in 2023 as we're recording this. So if somebody listens to this in 10 years, like, is there somewhere I could put a suit on?
I mean, I bet you, I mean, I don't know, but I mean, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, if you see some of the robots that they've made now, I wouldn't be surprised if they have something like that. Like I said, I think that was I mean, the fact that he's able to put the suit on as quick as he does, you know, when he has to, and panic, like, you know, but again, very advanced. However, when it's fully on, it looks so funny because you could totally tell it's a guy in a clown costume. Like, you know, at first, like, it's all floppy, you know, on the ground and all in a ball. But the minute he stands up, it's full human form.
I know. And the things it does, which we'll get
into.
Oh my gosh,
I can't. And you know what? Before we get, I'm not even going to talk much about it, but that scene reminded me of They Live. It was like an ongoing fight scene.
Oh, I know. It was like it was up there. It was up there. It was up there. The fight scene.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because not even the fact that once they're in the house, then it goes outside.
Yeah.
And then you think, oh, he's gone. He's dead. No, he's back.
This guy
survived that.
There's a few things he survives. So I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my god! And then the clown. So you mentioned like how annoying he must be. His girlfriend.
Oh,
what's her name? Her
real
name's Rachel.
She definitely must get tired of him. I mean, he's nonstop.
Yeah, it must be. Maybe she loves the apartment and having an elevator to be able to do it. Because
does she work too?
She works at she's a professor at a community college. Because remember, she goes to work. Even he goes, there's some dangerous people. She's like, I got to grade these midterms. Even that night when they get back from their date, because they're supposed to be going on a date, and he's running late because he's goofing around, doesn't have his outfit on, and then he uses the clown to somehow the clown does the dancing, and then the clown is able to reach in its pocket and pull out a bracelet.
The clown could do anything. I mean, literally, like it's so stupid. It's like so advanced. But yeah, but you know what? But he did take her. You know, when you said date, I thought you were going to talk about Brian Dennehy's date, which was very classy.
Oh, we'll talk about that later. Oh yeah.
Okay.
And what a way to go. Oh.
Ugh. But I mean, I just he's such again, he's a big, like, goofy kind of guy, and these women love him. And like, again, the date he brings her, like, he talks at like this great place. We're not there yet. I can't. We'll wait.
But you know what? He is a car. If you think about him, where does he live? His one hideout. When people have like these houses, I wonder if cops ever really had that. Like, if a cop has a mortgage, and then they're like, "Yeah,
he lives
like,
in a bar." He lives in a bar.
No. That's not where he really lives. Remember, that was his what do you call it? A burn house or safe house? He used one of those kind of words. So that was like a place if they were onto you where you could hide. And I'm like, the whole trope in like cop movies is like, we don't make enough money. It's like, you don't make enough money, but you can afford another apartment just in case you need to go there once a year. Like,
that's true.
Yeah, his place we'll get to. But I was saying, like, could you imagine like she goes to work or she's at, teaching her students. They're like, oh, that's a new bracelet. How'd you get it? Rollie gave it to me. How did he give it to you? Well, he has this clown.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Again, like the whole clown thing, and that's the only thing I remember briefly from the movie. When I just remember there was a clown that was involved somehow, and I totally forgot. And then when I started watching it, I'm like, there's a lot more to this clown than meets the eye, because we see the clown
the clown's
multiple
in the movie
times.
more than Brian Denny.
I was gonna say the clown should get like top billing because
Bluey, good old Bluey.
Oh my gosh! All right.
So we kind of talked about so Kim's divorced. Her ex is a cop. His name's Mike. He's coming. He's late to pick up his kid, and I mentioned his line before when he gets the beep. He gets a beep, which, a beeper at this time, that's like the way to go. Like, cops have to have it. And he gets the beep and he calls in and he's like, I just put in 15 hours. All right, I'll go in. He's like, all right, I'll bring the kid with me. And it's like, oh, wait, what?
Of all places to bring your child to work, is a police station like really good for the especially like back then, in the city? You think that's I mean, the kid was talking to a hooker when she was.
I know, dude. I love that.
I mean, so like, is that good parenting to bring a child? Like, first of all, I would assume it's not even allowed, because I mean, police stations could be dangerous. I mean, you're bringing in criminals that first of all, what's a kid gonna do there?
I guess he was just drawing, right? That's all he was doing, was doodling.
Oh, so bad. Always bad parenting, really.
And I thought it was bad, and then I thought it was going to get worse, because when he goes to talk to the lieutenant, and the lieutenant tells him about, like, oh, yeah, don't worry about the other case. I got this really important case. I need you, this real creeper guy. And, we're going to have a stakeout. Oh, when? He's like, yesterday. He was, oh, man. And then I thought he was going to bring the kid. That's my first thought. I'm like, he's bringing his kid to stake out a guy that, like, is stalking models? Like, what?
And that whole case is so ridiculous, because they just the fact that they had, first of all, the fact that what are the odds of having an empty room right across the way where the guy was that he could see in? Like, I mean, like, in a part, again, the whole stakeout scene is so ridiculous, because again, the time that they needed to, or the thing they needed to put together all that, really was unnecessarily, because if they're going to use the video, he doesn't know what's going on the other side of the video. So the cop doesn't need to be dressed up.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. That made no sense that he had the boobs. And it made no sense. I hope that's not a real thing. It's like, okay, we know this guy's going to try to come murder you. We have to make sure he goes in your apartment. That's the only way we can arrest him. It's like, wait, what? As soon as he approaches the door with a knife in his hand, can't you get him?
Of course.
Why does he have to actually walk into the room?
He's breaking into the house. You should be. They should have like 5 cops waiting right there at the door as soon as he walks in, right? But how about the fact that, all right, so they know this guy's gonna be stalking to this woman. They go to her and say, all right, we have to set it up. So you have to, set up, but you have to take your clothes off. Like, really? Like, they don't even know this woman. And the rest of the movie, she's like in her, or the rest of the whole scene, she's in, like, she doesn't even change, still in her robe when she goes outside and everything. Like, it's just so ridiculous. And again, that scene was so unnecessarily, like, they could have showed her, like, maybe like pretending to, get the shower going and then have the screen put up. And then that's it. That's all the guy's looking at. And how about the fact when the cops were there with the binoculars, literally right in the open, they were so in the open, like, and like, they weren't even trying to hide the fact. And then they do the old peekaroo, like you're like they're
I
halfway
know.
there, and it's just so stupid.
I don't know why they couldn't just make it a little darker, like on the set. For us, we're like, okay, he's clear. I can see him.
They were almost hanging out the window, like they had like two, and like it was just so, and it looked like the apartments were so close together. So
Yeah.
and I also wonder, like, is it that easy to figure out the room on the first try? Like if you go into the next,
Yeah.
you know, like it can't be that easy to figure out with the floor, the room, and I mean, because once you get the elevator, you're not gonna know what room is. I don't know. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, especially they do it so quick. But it's funny, like whenever in these movies, like maybe like you said, the Australian charmer, because the model was kind of into him, like flirting with him, and then he's like, "I'll make sure, and then you'll be on your own." She's like, "You're not going to be here for it." Like she didn't know.
Yeah,
Could you imagine this? She didn't know until like minutes before this was going down. They didn't like let her be aware of this like the day before when he was filming all this stuff. No.
But she's more comfortable with the special effects guy than the police officers. Like, why does she need a special effects guy there?
Well, maybe she thinks the guy's creepy because he wants to wear boobs.
Ugh.
Like that made no sense.
I-
And remember the right boob was to talk to him, right?
Yes.
Why
It
give him a
really
button?
but again, he's wearing a robe. He's got the towel on his head. Like, for what?
Yeah.
If they have a screen up, this guy's not seeing anything. He could stand there in a cop uniform because there was so much smoke in there anyway. He wasn't going to see anything. Like, it was just so stupid. Like, the whole sting was so dumb, And I like how the creepy guy has his murder weapon right in his like sock drawer. Because he turns around, he goes to his drawer, and he just pulls out the knife right there.
And just the fact that they knew that he had that knife because the other guy used the same exact knife. It was the same exact like curved blade on it. But even before that, when Rollie and Kim get back, and they're about to hook up, and I love that he lights the candle using he uses his finger.
Okay, again, nonstop. Like she has to be like, all right, like it's like, it'd be cool on like maybe the first date, the first month, like he's always surprising her. But if he's dating her a long time, after a while, it's like, all right, I've seen them all. Enough. I grow up.
It'd be like dating Pee Wee Herman. Like really, like the
Well,
word of the day, cherry.
It'd be, you know what? It's like if Paul Rubens, if you're dating Paul Rubens, but he's acting like Pee Wee Herman all the time. That's what. Yeah. Or like Carrot Top, or, he's constantly bringing out some kind of prop, or whatever. Like it's so ridiculous.
I bet that's the case. I bet he has his props everywhere in his house.
Carrot, without a doubt, without a doubt.
But so then he has to so Mike shows up when they're about to like hook up, which is kind of weird to be able to walk in and see your mom doing that.
Her dress was like zipped down, and the son walks in. Like, I mean, like, first of all, again, don't they lock the doors? Like you're home alone, and you're
Unless
about
the kid has a key.
The kid didn't have a key. They
they
literally walked right in. I mean, they did it. And this happens in every movie, whether it's the bedroom or the house. Like, no one locks doors ever. If you're gonna do something, with your partner, you're not gonna make sure. Just you never know who's gonna show up. You lock the door. No one locks the door.
Or Australians, Raleigh's like, hey, you know what?
Are you want
Join
people to
us.
watch?
Yeah, join us.
So you're saying Australians are into that kind of thing?
Yeah, they down under. But it was so like mortifying for the kid, and then it's like, okay, and then this is when he brings up to him, hey, I need your help.
Okay,
and
hold on.
you see,
wait. You just made a point, and again, my point exactly. So you have a child that lives there that can come home at any moment. What if they, if they didn't come home at that time, things were going to get a little bit more heated. I mean, her dress is already unzipped. So what if, the kid came home when they're in the act of doing it? Like, again, this is why you lock the door, in which no one does. If he was grossed out by that scene, just imagine seeing Rollie on top of his mom, 5 minutes later.
That'd have been something he would not be able to forget. Seeing that.
Okay.
But he's trying to convince him. Obviously, he knows, that he's into special effects, and he knows that he worked with Leo on a case because Leo's known in the police department because he was there for so long. So he's trying to convince him to do this and make him up to me. I think he says right away, "I need you to make me up like a model, like right away." Like
how hard could that be? To make him up like a model, how hard can that be?
especially he's not really seen by the killer.
No,
so really it's just a rope,
And so, like, he's the only person that they can come to. Like, how bad is their police department that they have to get a retired movie effects guy to help them with a case?
Well, I think the only thing that makes it interesting is because it is true. There's really no special effects guys that live in New York City, probably, because that's the whole thing. Like the guy Mike Marino we interviewed a few years back, he's like the only East Coast studio. So, but just the fact that he just so happens to know this guy, and
so you're relying on special effects to get perpetrators.
Oh, I know, that's terrible.
I mean, so like that's again, that's a problem with the police force. If you have to rely on special effects and not your team, then
your skill,
your skill.
What's
right.
the budget for this? How much does all that stuff cost? It's not like he's just giving it. Oh yeah, I'll give you this screen, this projector screen that looks very expensive that hooks onto the wall in this perfect angle and everything.
Yeah, the screen is very cool. Even when he pulls it down, like how real it looked. Like the screen, he used that screen in the first movie, if I remember correctly. Like,
oh, did he?
I think so. Like when someone was trying to shoot him, he had the screen there that looked like it was him. Like so, I think that was kind of a throwback to his special effects from the first movie.
Nice. Yeah, there was a couple throwbacks to the first movie. The creature.
That scene with the creature reminded me of like Dumb and Dumber 2. That Brian Dennehy waited 5 years to spring that trick. He goes, I waited 5 years. I think he said 5 years. I waited a long time to do this trick. So, like, do you think he waited? I mean, I know we're not there, but do you think he waited? Like, he's like every time the door knocked, all right, maybe it's him.
Yeah,
and
maybe it's Rollie. Well, he's honestly blowing Rollie off. I think that's one of the things. Even though he was like a private detective, he didn't really call him back because there was a lot of times Rollie made it seem like the first voicemail he left him, like, hey, I know you're there, call me back. So it seemed like they maybe haven't connected because of what happened.
No, I think Brian Dennehy just wanted to make a big entrance. So pretend like he didn't hear, he didn't get the messages, but he showed up exactly where he needed to be.
Right place, right time.
So he knew he was just playing like, all right, I'm going to pretend I'm not home, but I'm really going to be there. This way, I can make that big entrance.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
So Mike's line to get Rollie to do it said, if someone like this was going after Kim, what would you do? And then that's when like the wheels turn. He's like leaning on the fridge and staring in the fridge, I guess, as reflection. But I wrote this down, and this is like, because I remember most of the movie. I just didn't remember like who died or what the whole setup of the whole movie was.
In the first one, about?
In this one, movie I'm talking about. So I wrote down, could you imagine dying like this when he had the boobs on him? And then,
oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
like, what if like the way he put it on, he used like the wrong glue, and it's stuck and they can't take it off. Like he can't do an open gasket. Like it's like.
Well,
what is he
he's not. Wait a second. You think he can't do an open casket because he has fake boobs on? He's not naked in the casket.
I know that, but what are you gonna do? You're gonna notice it when you go up and pay your respects. You're gonna look down and you're gonna see like
no. So you make his belly match his boob, and just make it look like he's just put on a lot of weight. I can't believe that's what you're thinking of. That
that's what I
just by chance it was too much glue, and he's gonna be stuck and known as dressing up as a woman, on his days off.
Yeah, it's like they can't discuss the case so it doesn't get out, how he died or something. It was like, yeah, I heard he was kind of like cross-dresser.
It's so stupid. Like it really made no because it didn't come into play at all. Like he didn't push. Did he push the boob for the talk?
No, he never did. And how about the fact during this whole thing, he didn't even have to press the boob to talk. He gave him the Dick Tracy watch.
Yes, he had the cameras all over. Right, so that's what I'm saying. So nothing, the whole boobs did not come into play. That had to be for his own enjoyment.
Yeah,
that's it. Okay.
I even wrote, like, when we first see the two younger cops and the lieutenant get out of the car, I'm like, they, like, even at this point, they look crooked. Like, this is like before they're even peeping at him.
Correct.
There was something like off by them, like right away, which I wish they kind of could have hidden a little bit.
That's what I mean. They literally, like, every bad person in this movie was revealed right away. Like, it really, like, you know, and even again, his friend later on, I still didn't remember her, but I felt like there was something like she's not who she says she is, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think they cared. They really didn't care to share, you know, hide anything. So
yeah, nothing at all. But the
I
fact
mean,
that
they could have ran with the lieutenant. I mean, they could have ran with that for a little bit, and then he showed up at the end. That's what they should have done.
But right away, like, we know what's gonna happen with him, because when Rollie's talking to Mike and he's trying to tell him, hey, make sure the fog machine's too much. Make sure you turn it counterclockwise. And this guy's a dummy because he turns it the other way. Then there's more fog coming out. And then he takes off the hey, don't take off the watch, Mike. Don't take off the watch. And he's like, look at me. I'm a special effects guy. And he's like joking around. I'm like, dude, a guy with a knife is coming after you. Like, you're set up like, I'm going to have to murder this guy. And he's like joking about it.
And this is the best guy you could put on the case. Like, this is the guy that, like, we need you for this part. First of all, wouldn't you get like a skinnier guy, because the model's pretty skinny? Like, you know, he was kind of hefty. Like, you know, like, try to match the model a little bit. Like, again, the fact that he has this robe on who's supposed to look like the model, he looks nothing like her at all. He's not shaped like her. So even if the costume did come into play, it wouldn't have matched what, you know, she had anyway. So he was not the right guy for the job. And also, the cameras that he uses, they're pretty big. Like,
the lipstick,
you would think,
well, for them, I know, the lipstick cameras, yeah.
No, just throughout the whole movie, he's always putting these cameras around, but they're all like you can see them. Like, he doesn't really hide them that well. Like, you would think like a great special effects guy would have these like tiny, you know, a camera in their pen, or a camera, you know, that you're not going to see. But no, they're all like pretty basic cameras that all. First of all, where's he getting all this stuff? He constantly has all this stuff. Like, he's a special effects guy. Why does he have tons of cameras?
I know, he's like Alfred.
Okay.
He has like all these random kind of
tools
tools that you wouldn't think that he would
think
need.
about
He's a special
think about the end of the
effects,
movie. Think about the end of the movie. He has he has dynamite. Like, where does he get dynamite from?
I wrote down all the things. I wrote down all the things in order he puts in that bag, which we'll get to.
Okay.
But how about the fact that when he gets the call from the lieutenant, Mike, and he calls Mikey, he's coming your way, and he's got a blade. Wouldn't he sit in the chair in the living room? That's what I don't understand. Why he was waiting in the fog. It made no sense to me.
Well, is there a different charge for someone who has you know, a knife and you arrest them, or someone that's actually trying to kill someone and you arrest them? You know, like, so I guess that's what it is. But still, like, with the amount of fog, he could have waited. Like, it didn't seem like he was even waiting in the right spot. Like, he could have he was barely inside the room. Like, he should have stepped in. Like, and where'd the other guy come from?
Well, no, there was that back stairwell. So when we saw her leave, remember when she was in the bathroom? There was a back exit to that room. So there was like, it was kind of like it was a nice apartment, I guess, that had like, it wasn't really that big, but yeah, it did have a weird back door. I don't know why.
Okay, the apartment wasn't that big. You're going to tell me the apartment that size is going to have 2 exits?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
It worked for the movie, for the hidden hallway, but the fact that I wasn't expecting that, when out of nowhere you're like, you see the guy like open the door and you see him walking in, and then out of nowhere a guy, you know, Rollie's looking at his old Mitsubishi van, which is like all windows, like the back of that thing is all windows, and you see this guy come out of nowhere and slit his throat, and you're like, holy shit.
But I also wasn't prepared to, like, that they're going to be able to find out who it was right away. Like I thought
Yeah.
that would have been like, but somehow Rollie has, again, being a special effects artist, he's somehow able to zoom in that close and clear up and enhance so well that you can see everything, which is ridiculous.
Oh, it looks perfect. It wasn't like, it would have been good if it was like a blurry photo,
Right?
And then there's
right.
other people throughout the movie that might be him,
Right.
But he saw him on the stairwell. He saw him within seconds. He ran past him, and then he goes, that's kind of weird, a guy in the stairwell. And then he looked at him, and then the guy started running to make it seem like, oh, that is the guy.
Yeah,
like that's the only guy it can be. And then the guy was gonna murder him. Within seconds, that guy was like, all right, I got him off my car. Why don't I run him over?
Well, he did just slit someone's throat. I mean, I don't think he really cared about that.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I mean, Rollie, again, he's just a special effects guy. He's like a superhero. I mean, he's able to do so much stuff, and maneuvers, and it's just a little weird that they again, he acts more cop than the cops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, but the fact that the cop, like we talked about this, the lieutenant, when he wastes the creeper right away, you're like, oh, this guy's shady. There's no reason for him to waste him. We know this is like some kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it kind of ruins the movie in a sense. The only mystery was what were they after?
Right.
Yeah, why?
That's what I mean. There was no reveal of who the bad guy was. So it was just like, all right, so why were they going after Mike the whole time? And, but even, be honest with you, even the reason why we find out why they're going after Mike, it's kind of dumb.
Oh, dude, it is really dumb.
It's so dumb.
It reminds me of Halloween 3. Another, like they took like Stonehenge, fill in the blank. What would be the most ridiculous thing? How about these medallions from the Vatican? It's like, okay, why don't you say Blackbeard's gold?
Like, not only that, the fact that they want to give it back.
Oh, I know the mob wants. The nice mob is gonna pay $10 million to give it back.
It's just such a dumb. Like I said, the movies are entertaining, but really, it's a dumb plot. There's so many stupid loopholes that just don't make sense. But it's still entertaining, So
hell yeah,
yeah.
And then when Rollie comes back, oh my god, the line he uses, like, oh, how'd it go? They're watching a movie. He's like, there's been an accident. It's like, oh.
The kid is like, what do you tell the mom first? Like, not in front of the kid.
Yeah.
All right, let me talk to your mother for a little bit, and then figure a way to break it to the kid. Not just come right out and say it like that.
Yeah. Oof. And then what? I did remember something clicked. Obviously, the way they said the line, because then it's really shady when they go to Mike's apartment and the cops are all there searching. And you're like, okay. But when he's going through the kids' games and he's like, Becker, what game is this? And I'm like, oh, I remember this. That's obviously something because it doesn't sound like a video game.
Right.
But just that whole thing, we knew that something was going on because why would they search a guy's apartment who was murdered on a stakeout? It made no sense.
100% no sense because he was the victim at this point. So, it made, the fact that they were searching again, makes it again, every scene, like I said, it just doesn't make sense. And the fact that they're the way they were talking to the mom and the son, so angry and rude to them, they just lost their father and ex-husband. And it just ridiculous. I would be surprised if they're not even real cops. They were just part of the bad guys that are.
Yeah, the one main guy kind of looked like the guy that was on the boat at the end. But I don't know if it was the same guy. That would have made sense.
That crew that gets off the boat.
I was almost like, which one's Thompson? Remember they said Thompson?
Yeah.
Oh, Thompson. And you're like, who's going to be Thompson? I was really hoping it was a character actor guy from that we know. No, nobody spoke except the one guy goes, these are real.
But all the henchmen, they all look like they were from an 80s music video. They all had the sunglasses and they all walking around like tough guys. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And then outside, the lieutenant goes to Rollie and he says, oh, I'll have them deliver the equipment to you to make it easy. And then he goes, oh, I found this camera. And then that's when he goes to make Rollie think different. Hey, somebody wasted Mike. We can't let it get out, but we think it's another cop, to make him think like, oh, you know what? Maybe that's why they're not talking about this other guy that I know I saw. But did you notice? I just looked at the VHS tape. The movie was PG-13. So I wonder if there was a number of Fs you could say back then to make it go from R to 13, because they ADR'd him 2 times in this movie. You notice that? Instead of saying the F word, he said fool.
I didn't notice it, but they had nudity in it, and it was PG-13.
You saw boobs?
You sure her boobs?
You saw full? Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I said in the beginning. Like, why did she have to even show her boobs? They're showing her video screen. Like, they didn't have to do that. And yeah, 100%. They showed nudity. But again, this was the 80s. I mean, Clash of the Titans showed boobs, and it was PG.
Yeah.
So
no, because just the line that Silic said, he said like, I don't want no. But he said they put in fool.
I gotta be honest. When it comes to ADR, I never notice. I never.
Oh,
pay
it was
attention.
just that bad because he said effing, and which is 2 syllables, and he only said fool. So they didn't put in like fooling. It was so bad.
But you've noticed it. Like, I know you're very into detail like that, and you have noticed it before. I'm so bad. I've never noticed it. Like, I just never. I don't know. I never pay attention. I just never notice it. Yeah.
But I just noticed that one, and then I told my wife, and then later at the end of the movie, same thing. It was like ridiculous. So I thought there was like
so you can't say the F word, but you could show boobs.
I guess so.
Okay.
But they said the F word other times. It was just weird. Maybe they're like, we don't want him to say the F word. It was just bizarre.
And
then so Rollie at this point, he takes Kim and the son to her sisters in Jersey. So then this is where I wrote 36 minutes in, and we see Denny's hand, or maybe it's a stunt hand double. But this is where he, yeah. So this is where he gets the other camera, which the guy gave to him, and it looked like it was like opened up, right? So you thought it was broken? No, not broken at all. He's able to look at the footage and see Salick plant the knife on the guy.
Which makes me question, why did Salick give him back the camera?
100%. Why?
That made no sense. Like, because I thought maybe he had a recording somewhere else, but the camera, he needed that camera to get the information. So again, why would Salick give it to him? And the fact that he's able to get so much, I mean, like, why does he have these cameras? He's a special effects guy.
And he hid the camera when he goes back in and sees Mike.
Did he really hide it?
But he closed it. It was like a lipstick camera, so they were hoping. I was thinking like, oh, he's gonna have to go back later. But the fact that he gave him the evidence back, he can plug it in.
And the fact that he knew it was a camera, like, it wasn't like, oh yeah, here's part of your equipment. He's like, yeah, we found this camera there. Wouldn't you have looked on it? Like, yeah,
I know. But then we get probably the coolest cutaway. The coolest start to an action scene, I think, ever, when he is doing the zoom in on the killer's face. And it's like, enhance. And you see the guy's face, and then you see the guy's face above the computer monitor. That was awesome. And he goes, give me that tape.
And again, you don't lock the door? Like, like no one locks doors in movies. Like, especially like Rollie, he knows his crooked, cops going on, that this is like something pretty deep, and you're looking at evidence. You're not going to be a little worried that someone's going to come and get you. Like, you don't lock the door. And how quiet, like, you don't hear a door opening, shutting, people walking across creaky floors. You don't hear anything. They're able to get in there all the time.
Yeah, it's not like he had headphones on or anything and he was listening. No, it was just like sitting there in a ginormous apartment, so you can hear probably a pin drop in it. But no.
Yeah. And knowing that he's the special effects guy that's constantly just doing, you would think that he would have some kind of like alarm system, like, or something that's special effects wise. That I think in the first movie, that's where the monster came. Right.
Yeah, so the monster was at the front door. Yeah.
Correct. So you would think he would have something in this apartment. I mean, he does have an elevator that he uses and everything else. Why wouldn't he have some kind of a alarm system?
No, but he does have a clown. So this scene when he goes, "How'd you know I didn't make a copy?" And the guy goes, "Did you make a copy?" And then he stares at a bunch of VHS tapes. He stares at them, looks back at the guy, he goes, "No." And then the guy goes to go over there, and while that guy's going over there, he reaches into the clown, the suit, to make it start moving. And then, dude, wow, just the
Well, I mean, so like, what is that clown made of? Because again, when he picks it up, when he makes it, when he brings it down the first time, it's like I said, it's like in a ball almost, and then he makes it stand up, but it's got to be something so strong that can wrap around the bad guy and hold him down.
Yeah, and it's strong for a while. Maybe it's made. I don't know what it has to be, like metal, but it has to be something so strong because the guy gets out of it for a second, and that's when he's choking out Rollie. But dude, the fact that it's that strong enough that when Rollie wraps around it and then does that, like he jumps a little bit, sideways in the soup, and then the guy flies over. That was insane. Like just watching the clown kill itself, pretty much.
Oh. It was ridiculous. I mean, like again, the clown I think kicked him in the balls at one point.
Oh yeah,
I think. But the fact that like Rollie's sitting in a chair with his feet crossed, and the clown is crossing his feet, squeezing the guy. Like, again, how about the fact that when he throws himself out the window, how does that happen? What did Rollie do? Like he barely did. Like he just did like a little jump, and the clown went flying.
I know. He just like jumped up and like tucked his legs together and went to the side, and it made the guy it made the clown do a side flip over the railing.
So you're telling me it's that sensitive? So so for this toy, if you sneeze, the clown's gonna go flying. Like if you just do any kind of jerky movement, So it's,
God, and again, the fact that like
this was a long fight scene.
Oh, dude! And then we get one of my favorite things is when he goes down there and then the guy's gone, right? He's already like gone, and then he's getting ready to, but he uses everything as a weapon. That's why I like Rollie. Like I said earlier, I love when it's like the everyman as the guy. He's like walking on top of everything, throwing everything. It's probably like his girlfriend's priceless like possessions for vacation. One looked like an African mask. Threw it at him and shattered everywhere.
Every pot, every pan, every sculpture was thrown at this guy, and the guy was like, first of all, he hit the guy with everything he threw. Like there wasn't one miss. Like everything, and the guy just like kept almost like blocking everything, but like stopping him. Like it was almost like a storm of things that were stopping the guy from charging him because he couldn't move. The guy was immobile during this fight scene.
Oh my God. And then they're in the fish tank, and then from the earlier fight when the clown knocked the gun out, the gun went into the fish tank. So Rollie's smart enough while he's getting drowned to grab the gun and fire it, but then he drops the gun.
First of all, if he was in a fish tank and Rollie's head was in there, wouldn't you kind of like try to knock the fish tank over? Like, like pull on the sides and try to knock the tank over.
Oh yeah.
Like what? Like, I mean, again, you see this in movies all the time. Like, someone's drowning you, and they're just standing there and just letting the drowning happen. Like, why you not? It's a fish tank, so it going to be. It could be knocked on the floor. Shake it a little bit, Well,
it was a pretty big fish tank.
Okay, you don't think he can? Listen, you're going to tell me you're not going to do whatever you can.
Oh, try to shatter it, yeah. Swing your arms at it or something, yeah.
Listen, there's rocks in the fish tank. They were sculpted, like use something in there, But people just stand there and have their face, like they can't do anything. I just never understood
cared
that.
about the fish. He didn't want the fish to die, but then
really because
all of them when he
I would say they kill him anyway. But yeah, he shoots him, and then why would he drop the gun? Because the guy grabbed the gun in 2 seconds and started shooting at him.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then the fact that again, you think it's like maybe over because the guy's like chasing after him, and you think the guy's chasing after him in the apartment. Yeah. No, the guy somehow gets from wherever that apartment is, which seems like it's like because he's high up.
Yeah, he's not on the first floor.
So this guy ran down a flight of stairs, got into his car, pulled behind the building because Rollie's going down the fire escape, and the guy shows up. He's there ready to shoot.
You know what? He's got to be close to the top floor of that building because Rollie goes to the roof.
Yeah.
And he doesn't.
Oh,
he doesn't,
yeah. You're right.
So the apartment has to be high up. So Rollie, again, took time to go maybe take a flight of stairs up to the roof, go on the roof, and then take the ladder down Like you said, this guy had enough time to run downstairs, get his car, turn it on, go around the block wherever Rollie was. I mean, like, that's ridiculous. And one thing I noticed in this movie, now this takes place in New York City, I think, right? Somehow, every scene, they're able to park right in front of the building of every building they go to. Every building they go to throughout the whole movie, and I marked this down, they're able to have that spot right in front. You tell me you go to the city now, you have to park like 4 blocks away to the building you're trying to get to because you can't find a spot.
Oh, yeah, dude. Just good luck in this movie. I can't even park in my little downtown on a Friday night. So the fact that they're able to do that in New York. But I love that he's getting to the bottom of the fire escape, and he's on the bottom, and he's like releasing the ladder. He's getting ready to go down. And then that's when the guy pulls down the street, and he's like, holy shit. And then it breaks. So then he's just dangling there. This guy's getting ready to shoot him, and then
no, it breaks because the car hit it. The car hit the bottom of the ladder.
Oh, he was already down there. So the guy hit him, and then
he was hanging from the ladder because so the ladder came down. The car went through and broke the ladder, so he was actually dangling on the ladder.
Oh, okay. I don't remember him hitting it.
So you know that the bad guy's down there. Wouldn't you climb back up, get in your apartment, and lock the doors?
Yeah, well, yeah. Why wouldn't he do that?
Okay.
Yeah, why was he just hanging out there? And then the fact that the bad guy is like waiting to aim at him while he's dangling.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, you get like whatever. I don't even know what kind of car that was, but it fit Leo so well with the green door and
It was almost like Vacations, like station wagon kind of thing. Like, I mean, I know it wasn't a station wagon, but it had like that weird. Yeah, it
looked like they didn't make more than one of those.
I was going to say, there's no way there's another car that looks just like it.
Yeah. But did you think the henchman was dead? Just the way it basically got. You would think if he's aiming like this and somebody hits him from behind, I don't know if you're fast enough to lean down or pull your seat back in order to not have your head decapitated. But somehow he did. I thought he was dead.
Yeah, well, I thought he was dead a few times in the movie, and he somehow comes back. But back to Leo's car. So Leo is a private investigator. Wouldn't you get something that would be hidden a little better if you're a private investigator?
Oh, no. Yeah,
you have the one car that's going to stand out no matter wherever you go, and this is the private investigator. So how is he ever going to be undercover? Because everybody knows exactly where he is. Like that's I don't know. All right.
And he's a big dude. He's got a big belly, and he rocks that Brooklyn Dodgers hat. I don't think he sticks out like a sore thumb, no matter what. Even if he did have an incognito car, he is just like this hulking figure. That you're like,
absolutely.
Yeah,
and
that guy's a cop.
Why is he always wearing a suit? He's always wearing a suit without the whole movie. The whole movie.
How can people ever do that? It's so funny when you think about like that's what people used to do. Like, oh, you're going to the Knicks game, you gotta wear a suit. You go to a Yankee game, suit. I couldn't imagine that.
I've said that 1,000 times. Like, with these movies, like Tom Cruise, he's always like, when you're fighting, why do people leave the suit jacket on? Like, when I wear a suit, I can barely move, and as soon as I can take the jacket off, if I'm at a wedding, I take it off. These guys are fighting; it never rips. Like it's just. Why I would want to wear if I'm gonna go on like on a stake I'm gonna stake out I'm gonna wear sneakers. If I have to chase someone down, I want to be yeah. It just doesn't make sense.
Chase somebody in a suit or even like jeans, like
you know what? Somehow they catch. Well, in the movies they are because they catch him every single time.
Yeah, Mel Gibson, man, he's always wearing jeans and he's sprinting down, catching guys. Yeah, you're right.
It's ridiculous.
Be comfortable, man. So
be comfortable.
So Leo, what he called the place was a crash pad, so that was the name of it. But then that's when they walked in, and it was a bar,
and it's pretty big.
It was huge.
So how is he paying for that? And he's not even using it. But somehow it's fully stocked.
And no, what was weird? The weirdest thing was that it's in an apartment building. It wasn't like a door outside to get in. It was a door in a hallway in an apartment building. And he goes. Rollie says a line. What does he say? Something at the bar, and he's like, "It's okay. Nobody knew it was here when it was open." Something ridiculous, but Jesus, man.
But and again, he probably goes there all the time and drinks because, like I said, he had like liquor all over the place. So I mean,
that's all he did was drink. He goes, "Oh, you want a drink?" come on, Rollie, you almost just got murdered. You want a drink? And let's have one more drink before we go.
And they're drinking a lot of Jameson throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the one thing they mention, if there's any cops that are listening or detectives at Sequels Only on Twitter, do people really do hobby cases? Is that really a thing that they like? The fact that he's like, oh, it's probably one of those hobby cases. He's probably on to something. I'm like, really? Like, is that what you do? Like, you're working murder cases 40, 50, 60 hours a week. And then when you're just hanging out, you're like, let me look at this old case file in order to try to get this one. It's like, what?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, unless it's a case that maybe like you worked on, but like you're still not satisfied at how like it ended and you're like saying this is something you're missing. You know, I can understand that, but I don't think there's such a thing as a hobby case.
Yeah. And this is
Maybe
where
in
you
the
see
80s.
in the 80s, 90s, that was the thing. But then,
Yeah.
so he wants to go meet his gal that works in the computers department.
You know, how nervy is that he's going to ask her for a favor when he basically stood her up, I guess, 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and he's going to ask her for a favor.
Do you remember her name in the movie?
No.
Trying to look in the IMDb to see who she was. I see Joanna Gleason on here, but I don't see any other characters' names there. Her name wasn't Velez. Was it Kylie?
Oh, no, it was Velez. I think it was Velez.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was Velez.
So she was in the first one. Same character.
Okay, so there you go. So he must have had something to do with her in the first movie, and maybe they just played along with that gag that he was supposed to take her out, and he never did. And again, if that's the case, shame on the girl then, because she gave in pretty quick.
She wasn't in much. That's shocking. I thought she was pretty good in this, but
She was, but she gave in pretty quick. And how does he have access to go wherever he wants? He's
well,
not a
that's
cop
what she
anymore.
said. She made that line. She goes, "How do you always get back here?" He goes, "What did he say? I lie or I bullshit?" He said something like that.
Yeah, but I mean,
God.
they should know. They know. I'm sure they know who he is, so they just
Yeah.
let him go wherever he wants. Oh, that's crazy, Leo. He just goes wherever he wants.
Crazy Leo, and she goes, "Damn, you sure know how to push the right buttons." That's what she says.
Again, it was. I want to say 3 to 5 years that he hasn't called her. He was supposed to take her out, and he didn't. And he's asking her for a favor, and she
Yeah.
doesn't want to do it at first. And his sweet talking lasts maybe a minute, and she's like, "Okay," because he said he'll take her to this nice restaurant. He knows this great Chinese place.
Well, he says the nice Chinese place the next time when he brings the Jamaica tickets. So just think about the relationship. Hasn't seen in like 3 to 5 years, you know? Shows up, asks for a favor, and then you're like, oh, he blew me off
you're right.
5 years ago. And then he's going to show up again? Yeah, right. And it's like, oh, we need something else. Oh, he's got a ticket for Jamaica. He gives her the ticket first, and then he has the ticket. And then that's when he mentions the great Chinese restaurant.
But how ballsy is that? That again, you haven't seen her in 5 years. How do you know she wants to go with you? Like,
I know.
He knew. Like he was so confident. He's like, I got this girl. She's still waiting for me for 5 years. I'm gonna get her a Jamaica ticket. She's gonna come with me. There's no way she's not gonna say no. Like really. And then what's wrong with this girl that she's been waiting for this guy for 5 years?
I know. There is something wrong with her, really.
It has to be. All right.
Because she's very attractive, 20 or 30 years younger than him. And she's waiting for this guy to show up?
Let's be honest. I mean, he's not the best looking guy. Like you said, he's like a hulking figure. He's just a big guy. And so, I mean, yeah, the fact that listen, both of them, even the redhead was like, into him. Like, and he slept with her probably in the first one too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, he slept. He's like Tom Atkins in Halloween 3.
He really is.
Slept with everyone he talked to in this movie.
And, it's funny. I did watch the trailer to the first one before I watched this. I forgot he had a cheesy mustache in the first one.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Oh, like 70s pornish looking like mustache. Think about his creepiness of hooking up with all the girls, women, and then again the same his character. Like so ridiculous.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier how Rollie is not only a special effects guy, he's McGyver. Because the next part he goes, I guess you have to tap some phone lines. And then he knows how to do that, and all he's doing is like zooming in, and he's doing it perfectly. And they set up 2 phones in the bar. I wouldn't even know how that would work.
He fixed the jukebox that didn't work for 10 years.
I know.
I mean, Leo goes, don't mess with that. It, hasn't worked in 10 years, and in seconds, in seconds, how long was he there that he fixed it, and he right away started playing. Like, so,
I know.
Yeah, he is so McGyver. It's like not even funny. He does more McGyver. Like, I feel like there's barely any special effects in this movie. It's really all
yeah. This one doesn't have. I guess the only special effects is
at the end, a
little
bit
with him.
Yeah,
what he does to himself.
Both of them, sort of. And again, the screen, but for the most part, it's him just rigging stuff together.
Yeah.
No,
the first one was all special effects.
Correct.
Because that was the whole, obviously the name of the movie is
Correct.
FX, but the whole hook of the other movie was like,
Correct.
It was his special effects. They kind of used him in a way.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, I know we briefly mentioned the monster, but then we skipped over the scene. So did Leo, first of all, how did Leo get that monster? And the fact that, again, he literally had it by the front door, that he said he's been waiting 5 years to get him on this. So that's, I was laughing because it immediately reminded me of Dumb and Dumber 2. Even though Dumb and Dumber 2 wasn't that great, the fact that Lloyd waited 20 years as, in a coma state just to get Harry.
I know. Oh my God. But no, I did love I wonder if that was in the script or maybe Dennehy just messing around with Brian when he does the mix with the glasses. He's kind of throwing them up a little bit, and you're like,
I think so.
I think
so because he says he made a comment to it or something like that. Like, was Cocktail? Yeah, Cocktail was in the 80s, right?
Cocktails. Yeah.
Okay, so my guess is without a doubt because he totally does the flipping like they did in the movie.
Yeah.
That is funny. That is funny.
Oh, no, I thought that was so hilarious. Whenever they do that in any movie, you're like, oh, that's great. Like when we covered Oblivion 2 and what Sam did, having those people from Sulu and having Catwoman and having those jokes like that. It was pretty neat that they did that. So now you mentioned the redhead already. This is when he goes to see that lawyer because she's dealing with a case. Now, when does he find out about Becker?
She's a district attorney, I think.
Yeah,
right?
She's a DA. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm trying to think of why he's even talking to her already. Did they already know did they found out from
because
the girl with the
they thought
glasses?
that it's an inside job.
Yeah. No, and because the girl in the glasses, when she was going through cases that Mike was looking at, because he was like, one's that older 5
you're right.
5 years. He said Becker, and he's like, oh, I remember that one. That's the one case of this guy. And this guy was on trial, and he had a connection to Becker. Well, they didn't know he had the connection with Becker yet because it didn't click again, the 2 names, until he was at the prison. When they went to the prison for the visit, he's like, he's talking to Becker, and he's like, oh, Becker. He goes, oh, I remember that name. That was a case that he was working on. So he put 2 and 2 together.
Right. I mean, again, with the prison, can anyone just go visit anyone?
Oh, dude, yes. That whole scene, the fact that she can make a call in order to get her friend, who's not a cop anymore, to go in there,
and no one questions it.
Yeah, not even they don't question it. The guy that's bringing him around is not whispering, and he's so loud about this guy Neely, and he's explaining everything. They're walking past inmates. Denny is making fun of him, right? Doesn't he say, "Oh, is this the choir?" And he goes, this guy must be a baritone or something. And you're like, holy shit.
And all those inmates that were walking around loosely, they all looked angry. They all looked angry to see Dennehy. Like, is that safe? Like, is that
not even at all.
Okay, so even if you get the allowance to visit an inmate in the prison, I doubt you're allowed to go deep in the prison. First of all, to see, they would bring the inmate to the waiting area or visiting area probably to talk to them. You're not going to go inside the prison, and you're not going to be roaming around with regular inmates that are walking around loosely. There's got to be a liability with that.
No, there was the one guy that was really big. Yeah, I just remembered. He walked right next to them.
Yes.
Like he stood right next to them and looked at Neely like talking to that guy Becker. But this is where we found like we heard the craziest like they could have used so many different things, but it was so silly when it came out to be medallions for the Vatican. Like,
and I like how he goes, all right, he wants to talk to you. And he goes, no. The bad guy goes, I'm not going to talk to him.
Yeah, right? Wasn't that silly?
The whole scene was worthless then.
Yeah. The only thing that was that worked was that we heard, oh, he's talking to Carl Becker. And it's like, oh, Becker. Right. We heard that, and then we remember it from the computer. But you're right. The fact that
you need that whole lead, you need that whole lead, and you need that whole lead up, the walk to get there, all this, just to say him to say no. I'm like, okay, that's it.
I know, like, but wasn't it funny because he said no, and then he tried again. He goes, oh yeah, he just wants a few minutes of your time. He says, no, and then you're like, oh, this is it.
That's so stupid.
Like, it's so ridiculous. But the medallions, man.
I know.
And then Kim at this point, remember Rollie was like, hey, when you're at your sister's in Jersey, just lay low. Don't worry about, this is dangerous. She's going to work.
I know.
That
made no sense.
A day or two the most. Yeah, her ex gets murdered.
Yeah. And knowing that there's a lot of strange things going on, like, that, they're trying to figure out that Rollie almost got murdered. You would think that, like, all right, you know what? Stay home or stay somewhere else. So and do not leave the apartment because you don't know if they're going to be coming after you. They came after me. Why not come? No, and she's just like acting like nothing's wrong.
And we didn't get that at all. They should have added that scene. Yeah,
and she's leaving her child.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I don't care. And I don't think the Annie's even home when the child answers.
The aunt wasn't there. No.
Right,
yeah,
it was a babysitter.
Like, it was. Yep.
So there's a murderer going around attacking your ex and your current boyfriend, and you're gonna leave your child home with a babysitter?
Yeah. I wonder if they cut a scene of Rollie calling and saying like, "Hey, I just got attacked," because because he was kind of out of commission because he was tapping the phone lines, drinking with Dennehy, so maybe he didn't call. But that was like pretty serious. Like, what happened to him?
That just made me think. So, Rollie's a regular guy. He's not a cop or anything else. What do you think that would be a little traumatic? A guy trying to cut you with a knife and attacking you, and you have a fight and you're trying to run for your life, and the next scene you're at a bar drinking and just like acting normal.
Oh, I know.
Like I wouldn't want to leave the house for like at least a week. Like I would be so traumatized, being attacked. Like he acting like okay, and he's ready to go deep dive again, into the thick of this whole thing.
Yeah, Leo conditions him for it because that's when he scares the shit out of him and Leo's laughing at him after he was almost murdered because of the special effects. And he goes, "You want a drink? Come on, let's have a drink." And it's like, all right, fine. But
he really is like he's such a degenerate, but at the same time, he's like a super cop. You know, so
he's the best.
Yeah,
like one of the best characters. Like cop wise, what he does in this movie is like,
but not
so
even
great.
cop wise. He every movie. Name a movie that he was in that wasn't good. You ever seen the movie Gladiator when he's a boxing movie?
No, he's a boxer.
Oh, you never saw it? Well, he promotes these like underground kind of fights. And he at the end of the movie he puts on like a guinea tea and he fights this one guy, but he fights dirty. Oh, you got to see it. It's a good movie.
Oh, yeah, check it out.
Yeah, I'll send it to you after.
All right, cool. But yeah, so at this point, this is when he's kind of Leo's explaining to Rollie about Becker and he goes, Becker, I've heard that name before. And then that's when he calls and he finds out that Kim's not there.
Yep.
Oh my God. And then this whole thing, just talking about 1991, the technology, the fact that Leo picks up the phone while he's talking to the kid and he goes, here's what I want you to do. Hey, it's Leo. I need you to go to the mall.
What did the kid go? Who the hell are you? Like he like I mean he's like listening and he's listening to this guy who's like a complete stranger to him.
Yeah.
And he's like, that was a little weird the way and even later on the kid starts talking like, how does he know it's actually the same guy? Like the bad guy could have been calling him.
That is true. But the fact that he's like, yeah, I want you to go to the mall and I want you to send the file.
So go out when there's danger all around, and he's sending the kid out. We're just talking about the mom should never have left. Yet Leo's sending the kid out into the open.
And didn't the kid? Wasn't it the daytime when he called him at first, because the setup of this was, he's gonna go to the mall, then Kim has to go pick him up, and then the fact that it was so weird because Kim got home, because Rollie calls a little bit later and says, "Where's Kim?" And his niece, or not his niece, but
Right,
Kim's
whatever.
niece goes, "Oh, she just left to pick up." So wait, shouldn't she have called Rollie when she got home and be like, "Oh yeah, Rollie called. He was really worried about you." No. She's gonna get home, not call you, and then go right to pick up the kid.
How old is this kid? 9?
Maybe around that age, right? 9, 10-ish.
How'd he get to the mall?
Oh, how did he get to the mall? I don't know. He somehow got a ride to the mall or something.
He's 9 years old. I mean, but
Because it was far enough that he didn't walk because Kim went to go pick him up.
The point is, though, he's sending this 9-year-old to the mall by himself when there's danger all around, so he can get the information he needs. He's using the kid as bait, almost like go ahead, go out there, but he's 9. Like I would never want my child to go, let alone to be at the mall, but to go to the mall. He probably took a bus. He probably took maybe a taxi. Like he's 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right before when Rollie goes back to the hottie in the glasses to call the kid at the store. Oh no, the kid calls when he's there to send the file, and she's like explaining it to him like, "Okay, now you got to dial in the number that you hear. Can
I ask you what store was he in that he was able to do this?
I have no idea. It was like a random computer store that nobody was in except one guy who gets knocked out really easily.
Right, and you're allowed to use the computer for personal use
to send. Maybe it's funny. I know for you that was even like I don't know
really
like sending files. I might be.
Wait,
I'm not being mean.
You're not being mean? Oh, for you? No, it wasn't for me. Yeah, okay.
But I'm saying,
that was a floppy disk. That was a floppy disk he was using.
Yeah. I used to have a Commodore 64. I wouldn't even have thought when I was a kid playing on my Commodore 64 that, oh, you know what? I need to send a file to someone. That wasn't even a mindset thing. The fact that the kid it was just bizarre. I didn't even know that was a thing that you could do in 1991.
There wasn't. It was, you could copy the discs. Like we would copy the games on the floppy disks, but I mean, sending files was nothing. I mean, that wasn't around.
Crazy. Just to see her do that. And then we talked about it a few times already, but she smoozes her up just before this with the Jamaica plane ticket and talked about, hey, let's go on to the date.
The fancy Chinese restaurant, you mean?
Fancy Chinese, the standing room only, fancy Chinese restaurant.
What was that a room though? It was a hot dog cart. It was a Chinese hot dog cart. Really, what it was.
The spring roll. Oh, it looked like a hot dog. Oh, she did put ketchup on it. Remember? She put ketchup on it. That was the whole thing.
And he was grossed out by that. But that's where he took her to a push cart. That was this is, and again, she was this is the guy that, again, you're trying to win this girl over and ask her for a favor, and that's the best you could do. Like, he could care less about her. I'm surprised he bought a ticket for himself to Jamaica. I bet you know what? I bet you he's not even going. He's probably sending her alone.
It wasn't real.
It was just the envelope. He probably just had the envelope for him, and she's going by herself. And he's probably saying, "Yeah, I'll meet you there."
He was pulling a Costanza. He was doing like the opposite, and he was like, "I don't really care about you," but maybe he's talking like a moose or something. Because you're right, he did nothing to try. He didn't try. Nothing. Maybe you can look at the plane ticket as like, okay, you're trying with that, but other than that, he could give two shits about really anything.
You know what, though? Again, she never really opened the envelope, so hers could be empty, too.
Well, no, she did open it. No, she opened it because she goes, it's an open ticket. Am I going alone? And then he goes,
oh, okay, you're right.
Look,
Okay.
I have an open ticket, too. No, I guess we can go together. It's like, does open ticket mean you can cancel it easier because there's no dates on it or something? Like, so ridiculous. But
oh, my gosh.
So the henchman, when he gets to the store, he knocks the guy out in seconds. And this is what I was saying, because I feel like when they called, I know they were inside of a bar, but I felt like it was still daytime. But they were sending the kid out when the mall's closing, because that was the whole thing. Nobody was in the mall, and this kid was still allowed to be in there, and the henchman had him not. It was just, I don't know.
So isn't that even worse? So you're sending a 9-year-old to the mall by himself at night when the mall's closing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. terrible that Leo put the kid in this situation.
It was a weird mall. Like,
you mean wait? The fact that there's a food store in the mall next to the computer store?
Oh
yeah,
my, okay.
Very weird.
That whole food store scene was just so bizarre. Like,
so
again,
silly,
so
and bizarre,
so
but great.
McGyver. It was all
Yeah.
McGyver. That was it's unbelievable. It was, was it purposely supposed to be silly? Like, I mean, so, I mean, first of all, we're at the food store. Have you ever seen a whole box of popcorn kernels?
Oh no, and that was gross. There was no lid on it.
Very gross.
Like,
There's no lid
even
on
like
it.
the pickles in the barrel, like I'm okay with because you have to pick them out, like with the
Correct.
thing.
Right.
This was just no lid. It was
Loose-
actually flowing over.
It was flowing over.
It was gross. Yeah,
was real gross.
disgusting. Even though you pop it and it's really
Yeah.
the inside part that you're like, I guess essentially eating, it's still disgusting. But the fact that he knows, hey, let me get some shoe polish and I'll light that on fire, make my own like candle kind of thing, and then I'm gonna start popping it to distract this bad guy.
Well, and then with the beans, like, why do you pick beans? Is there something with beans that
I don't know, but did you catch the name of the beans?
I did not?
Aunt Debbie's Boston beans in tomato sauce.
Wait,
Ugh.
it's that in tomato sauce?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a real can though. You got to look that up. Aunt Debbie's.
It just looked
wonder.
it looked so bad. And I think it was Boston beans. Let's see if it's a real thing.
Oh
Aunt
my gosh.
Debbie's Boston. Oh, maybe not. Wait, let's see. Ooh.
It's a real thing.
Nah. There's no brands that are coming up when you search for it. But no, yeah, the fact that they use like the aerosol cans and the whole family's getting involved. They know how to easily use whatever tool they had to stick into the aerosol can and to be able to start the flame. So it's constantly like cooking these beans.
It's like, why would he know how to do that? He's a special effects makeup guy. You know, like, so he knows how to do all these MacGyver stuff. And the best part is when the fire's down the aisle, the bad guy keeps walking towards it. He sees the fire coming to it. Like, he's already been attacked by different, ways. He knows it's a trap, and he kept walking towards it. Like, what's going on here? Like, he had to get closer before it exploded. Like, it immediately saw a fire. You knew something's cooking. Get out of there. No, he just kept walking towards it.
Or if you see baked beans shaking on a shelf. Wasn't it like very Home Alone-ish, this whole scene?
It was very, very.
Everything was just like so silly. Like,
wasn't it amazing that they exploded as soon as he got in front of them too? Like, like the timing couldn't be any better. That he had the flames going on the beans, and they just happened to explode right then, and they all explode at once.
And I learned something from this movie. I know we learned what not to do with Exorcist 2 when you use a crutch to put out a fire, but in this you can use Aunt Jemima to put out a fire. I guess it's the henchman in seconds reaches for that and it puts the fire out.
It's really a silly scene. It's just so stupid. And he's filled with, like, he looks like Home Alone with the feathers and all that. Like, he's
His
like filled with
face,
beans and what was the other thing that he had on him? It looked like cat litter or something.
Well,
like, it was,
remember Rollie like went behind like a cart that would I guess a cleaning cart, and he knocks the guy over, which is
and it filled him with like cat litter because he was filled with like some kind of like dusty...
What do you hit him with? But do you remember when the guy was firing the gun and he was like hitting the front of it, and then he was hitting like that block? It said on the thing, it was like super absorbent. So I guess it could like catch bullets. But the fact that when he,
you know what, you're right. He was using that to block the bullets.
Yeah.
How dumb is that? I mean, oh my gosh.
So dumb, but I loved everything about it.
Okay, so do you think they had like, because it said super? I noticed that too. Super absorbent. Do you think they really think like, all right, let's make this a funny scene, or do you like, maybe like this is something that could really happen?
This could work.
This could work.
But when they go in the back room and they're hiding like the meat department, and the guy comes in and fires the gun, and he goes, "You shouldn't believe everything you see," and then he beats chickens with two chickens. But I did like the shrink wrap. That was frightening, dude. When he had the shrink, whoof.
But
that was pretty good.
Why didn't the guy do the same thing that Rollie did? Put his finger in his mouth and open.
That is true.
Like he literally, like his hands weren't tied. It was just his head. Like he literally sat there choking to death because he couldn't breathe. But he could have used his hands. Like again, it's like the fish tank thing. Like why do people like their arms freeze and they just go along with whatever torture is going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
But and then he like let him out and he's like, "You're gonna talk." And it's like, why should this guy talk? Rollie still doesn't have a gun at this point. He has no weapon. Obviously, he has all these gadgets he can like make.
Does he need a weapon? Wait, does he need a weapon?
Well, he doesn't need a weapon, but he needs a weapon to make the guy talk. It's not like the guy's gonna be like, all right, like standing face to face with him. He's like, I'm gonna grab a chicken bag.
At this point, this guy should be like a trained killer because he kills people. Yeah. How is he going to explain this story that this guy who's a special effects guy beat him up with a clown, beat him up with turkeys, threw exploding beans on him? Like he's never going to be able to show his face around the killer table again. So, at this point, he'll probably just share everything because he's, again, he can't show his face. He can't do his job anymore.
What happens to him after this point? We don't see him again, right?
No. He goes in hiding. He should be embarrassed.
He's casted off. He
cast it off. He can't show his face with his killer friends.
Or he has to go to Chicago or LA, change his name, dye his hair. So now we cut to Leo at the food stand where they're.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my god!
So classy. I honestly thought he was going to take her to a restaurant when he said, "I know this great a Chinese place in downtown." And it was a cart. It was do they have Chinese like hot dog carts?
I've never seen one. It's usually it's hot dog carts, peanuts,
pretzels,
and the halal with lamb and lamb gyro.
I've never.
Stuff.
So you're gonna tell me you can get like chow mein while you're at a cart?
That'd be cool. I guess.
Would it? Oh,
I don't know. I love the cart food.
So do I. But I don't know if I can get Chinese food at a cart.
Yeah,
a pretzel's a pretzel. A hot dog's a hot dog. Right? I mean, you start getting into like meals. Eesh.
Oh, I always get rice, chicken and rice, man, all the time.
Wait, at a cart?
Always lamb meat. Yeah,
ugh.
Always good.
Nah,
love
not
it.
Me. Nope.
So then at this point, he goes, "Hey, can I get 4 spring rolls?" And they're drinking sake, which is pretty famous. That's pretty fancy if the car is serving alcohol, but they're drinking sake, and she goes to put ketchup on the spring roll and he looks grossed out, and when she takes the bite and she's like, ugh, I'm thinking she's like throwing up. I wasn't even thinking she got shot. And then you see the guy. Now all those guys we never saw again, right? None of those guys were, which is silly. Why not have the same actors be the same guys we see at the mob safe house at the end of the movie?
Well,
just
those guys look like they don't. Those guys are just for show. They look like they can't do anything. So I wouldn't. Yeah.
Oh man, I wrote, what does he do? What does he do with the Jamaica ticket? And then I thought he was gonna take. I thought, dude, I was like,
if he took it out of her. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. You know what? He didn't seem that remorseful. I mean, like he really didn't, because he immediately went
seconds.
In seconds. So yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if he grabbed it and imagine he gave the redhead the ticket.
I wrote that down.
I got these 2 tickets.
I was like, wouldn't that be the funniest? If this was like a spoof movie, that would have been great. Like, hey, you know what? I got this ticket. It's an open ticket.
Did we get to the part where the special effects guy went undercover with a hat and sunglasses?
Well, no, that's at the church. We didn't get to that yet.
Okay, the church. You're right.
With the Budweiser hat.
And literally, the cop walks right by him. Like he's only wearing a hat. I know we're not there yet. Go ahead. All right.
And he's a tall guy. He has a distinct look, a long head, like it's like narrow.
I mean, don't you think he would have thrown like a mustache on or something? Like really, like try to like disguise. No, he looked exactly the same. Like it just looked like he was. It's so stupid.
Yeah. So then we figure out the whole thing. Leo goes to the DA and convinces her to get involved. So at this point, we heard from earlier when they got the phone call at the bar from the tap line, they knew that Neely was going to get out, but the only way the lieutenant would let him get out is if he got the information.
Right.
He gets picked up at the Staten Island ferry, and then you're right. This is where it is. So the fact that he's at the place, and I did love that they did that little like suspense when it looked like somebody was coming up to him, and it was the priest.
Oh
and he
my
was like,
gosh!
no hats. He like gave
No,
the
he
look
didn't
of
even
no
say. He
hats.
didn't even say anything. He just said with the hat.
Yeah. And then all he did was this.
Right. Yeah. So again, your disguise is now blown, and you're still sitting there, like with just sunglasses on. That it was such like a Superman Clark Kent kind of thing because he really didn't do anything to like try to hide his face.
No, he did nothing. And how about the fact that it was that easy to get those medallions? That like kneeling spot, like the prayer kneel, the way he was able to, while he was talking, rip it up.
I was gonna say the priest didn't hear anything that was going on.
Know.
I mean, like, yeah.
It's always quiet in a church for the most part. He should have heard that, especially when they were like basically in a box with like just a partition.
Correct.
He couldn't hear like.
Not even the priest. It's quiet outside, like in the pews.
Yeah.
People should have heard like what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man! But then it's time for a montage as soon as he gets out. So this is what he added in order. He added it was the dynamite, a kitchen timer, a fog machine, instant potatoes, a bunch of hot dogs, and ether.
Okay. First of all, and I think I've said this in other movies. Where do you get dynamite like that? Like, is there a dynamite store that you can just buy like guns, ammo, and dynamite? Like, where do you, because you see that dynamite a lot of times, but like I always picture that dynamite in like the old west. Like I never see like picture like, and he had a bunch of it. Like, where'd he get it from?
I would think you would have to have a license to buy that. Like,
and okay, and we're talking about this is such a short time frame of what's going on from the church to everything else because it's straight from the church. The bad guys are going with the mob, so like there wasn't a lot of time. So you're telling me he just happened to have dynamite on hand, like he just happened to have it in his apartment? And the hot dog, it wasn't just like a small package. He had like a Costco.
It was ropes. It was like a giant rope. There was a roped hot dog, and oh my god! And the fact that
do they sell roped hot dog? Okay,
I would think you can because that's what Thuman's hot dogs are. They're kind of like done like that.
So he got the hot dogs. Obviously, we find out for the dogs for the tennis court. How do you know there's a tennis court machine, like a tennis ball machine there? How do you know the dogs are outside? Like he hasn't been there yet. It's not like he scoped the place out. Like I could see it like maybe if the next scene, like they showed him like driving up, seeing where the place is. All right, and he noticed, all right, there's dogs here. No, he didn't know that. So he just happened to get dogs and hot dogs and figured, you know what? I'm assuming they're gonna have a tennis ball machine because why wouldn't they have a tennis ball machine that's going? And that it makes no sense. The stuff he brings, he has no clue what's going on over there.
2 questions. First, if it's a tennis ball machine, it's supposed to shoot tennis balls. You're telling me it can fire hot dogs? No way. No. The whole point of the tennis ball machine, tennis balls are just barely small enough, and then get the air.
Okay.
Hot dogs aren't flying that far.
I would say right. I was going to say if it could shoot out a hot dog, it probably just like it would probably just go out like if it worked at all. Like it was launching them, and it was launching them in such a place where like it was reaching pretty far, like further than the tennis balls could go. I think
it was just ridiculous. Now, how about the guy?
How about the henchman with the dogs? He didn't think that was weird.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
That hot dogs are landing in front of him. Like he's not questioning where this hot dog coming from.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say.
Okay.
And then he just lets them go.
Yeah,
he lets the dogs go to go to this situation that they have no idea what is happening. No,
he's not
we're just going to let the dog
at all.
Go.
Yeah. Okay.
Made no sense. But so those are my 2 questions for that. But how about that is your main henchman? I would think out of all your henchmen, that has to be like one of the most important ones, like position wise, because he's at the front door. So he's the one who sees everyone that comes through the gate. Oh yeah, this is fine. Just hot dogs are flying.
I was going to say,
right
if this is like the mob house and everything else, you don't think they have security cameras? You don't think they have a security, that's looking all the time at what's going on? I mean, it seemed pretty easy for him to get around. First of all, he knew exactly where to go at all times. This is a pretty big, house and property. He knew exactly where to go. First of all, how is he carrying all this equipment with him?
That's a great question. And how does he move so quick? So he's able to be at the tennis court, loaded up with hot dogs, and he didn't have that many hot dogs. Like that rope, I don't think they would have lasted that long. But then he's able to sneak into the house. First of all, how is he sneaking in the house? And he's able to sneak in the house, go upstairs, open a window, find a fan, and then sprinkle Idaho potatoes.
Okay, right. So, and I didn't understand that part at all with the Idaho potatoes. Like that,
it was just
that was so
weird.
bizarre.
It was the same guy that wasn't questioning hot dogs. He wasn't questioning that it was snowing.
And he was also able to get to. He knew that there was a boat, a dock, a boat. He knew how to get there. This guy's running around everywhere. No one's seeing him move anywhere. And back to the hot dogs, they were all on a rope. So it's not like it's a machine gun bullets where, like, as you're shooting them, they come off this on, like, how was the machine, the tennis ball machine, separating the rope and the hot dog and shooting them out like a machine gun?
You're right. They didn't think of that. Whoever got the prop that day was not smart. They should have just got like a bunch of packages of hot dogs, but they're like, you know what?
And dump it in there.
The rope looks cooler, even though it makes no sense because now Rollie has to cut each one, and that's wasting time. And it seems like he has like no time to do any of this.
But he seems to have all the time to do anything because he's going everywhere. If you think about it, you have a tennis courts, you have the upstairs room, and you have the dock. They're probably all three of them not next to each other, and yet he's able to go to all three very easily.
Yeah,
and again, we talk about it all. They don't lock the front door. This is you're a mob family, so you know there could be a hit on you at any time. You know that door is locked all times. There's no way they're leaving it, and he locks it. It goes right through.
It's funny because he does something that works really well, even though it's really silly the way he does it. Like when he shoots the guy in the neck with the dart using the tiny boat, the little like warship. Somehow he has one of these already made that could fire a dart.
That could shoot.
Which is silly. Why wouldn't you use the dart for everything? Because the other one was so elaborate. He gets the guy to go into the house after he sees like the snow come out of the window, and he sets up a tripwire which is going to set off the fog machine, which is filled with ether to knock the guy out. There's like just so much involved.
I was going to say that seems very involved. Like, you're 100% right. You have these little darts. Clearly, you can use it on every single the dogs and the guys. And no, you just use it once, and that's it.
And the pool, how do you know there was a pool table?
He knew.
And what was in there? Like honestly, the pockets aren't that deep, so he had like some kind of thing that he brought that can shoot pool balls up?
And not only shoot it up hard enough to knock someone out. I could see maybe you put in like a little spring in there that could like launch it up. You're going to get a welt in your head. It's not going to knock you out. So it had to come out in such a speed to knock that guy out because he was out cold.
Just the way he pops up. Hey, he's a cue ball corner pocket. Knocks the guy out.
Okay, so he obviously had a contraption in there. He had a box of potatoes and all these hot dogs. Where is he carrying all this stuff? Because it's not like he's running back and forth to the car. Okay, let me get this now. He has it all on him all at once. Is he like commando? And he's like we should have seen a montage like that. Like put the hot dogs on his like belt or waist and put everything.
Yeah, the hot dogs across like bullets. That'd be pretty funny.
Because again, the fact that he has all these contraptions which are cool, but he doesn't have time to set them or carry them. I would like to see him like running around like with his arms out like this, holding all the equipment to each location.
But yeah, it's so ridiculous. And then at this point now Leo shows up with the DA, and he is kind of a girl that he really seemed to care about that finally broke down his walls, died in front of him less than 24 hours ago. And he goes, "You bring protection with you? I mean, a gun?" Like, oh, really? Condom jokes? Like sex jokes now?
This whole scene, he has such balls. I mean, like, he is playing with fire the entire time. And the fact that, I mean, let's be honest. They should have killed him a long time ago.
Yeah.
Why are they like having him linger around? They don't need him at all, and they let him watch the entire thing going down. Like, why? Like, he obviously was caught. He's like they would have killed him immediately. Like they were like, what was the point of holding him around?
I guess it's like what he said because he knows all this stuff. So he like made that reveal. He's like, oh, they're gonna make you whatever the phrase was, make me, kill me, and then they're gonna hang that over your head, so you're in with the mob forever. Like you owe them forever. So that's why she was gonna have to kill him, and she obviously.
Yeah, but why? But why make him wait? Like, why wait that long? Like what was the purpose of leaving him around while the guys come off the boat? He's still sitting there. Like, this is a guy that tried to stop the entire operation. Wouldn't you just get rid of him immediately? Like,
I know.
You're again. They're showing him their plans. He's learning about everything, like right in front of him. Or like, you know what? Take him, tie him up, and throw him in another room or something. If you're not going to kill him, no, they just let him sit there, and he's mouthing off to everybody.
And
like,
yeah, you just split it 50-50? What about her cut? What about that? Oh, you didn't know it was 10 million? Oh, he only told you you're going to get 2.5? And they started fighting, which is wild that those two guys, again, I'm not saying if I did a plan like that, I would be upset if I was getting cut out another 2.5 million. I have no idea. But it was just so ridiculous. How about what Rollie did at the same point? When the henchman was looking for him, when he goes, you better call him. And he goes, Rollie, they got me. No, he's not picking up. And then Rollie has a springboard set up. So the henchman has to go down this path, step on the springboard. He hits the button. And then he puts a friggin', what is that? Not a buoy, but like a life preserver. Or something like that. And throws him in the water to float.
How did he know he was going to step on that?
I know. It's stupid.
You know, we're not there yet, but there's one more thing that I want to know where he kept it the entire time. That
was
we see
it
at the end of the
before
movie.
he comes in on fire?
No. It's like one of the last scenes that something else that's we find out that where did he help? Well, we'll get there. All right.
Okay.
But yeah, so the fact that I had the guy walk exactly where the springboard, which again, how did he carry the springboard there? And, you know, like, where was he, you know, and how did he have enough time to hide it?
Or how did he have enough time to land the plane in 5 minutes? Because after the scene, which we're watching it happen, and then we cut back to Leo and he's watching the deal and he's talking shit, and then Leo gets shot. I guess Leo gets shot after the plane lands, and we see Rollie as the pilot. Like, we see him there. And then the fireworks go off, right? Because I don't know when Leo gets shot. Does he get shot before the fireworks and all that stuff?
Okay, wait. But so was the fireworks the dynamite?
I don't.
Because he didn't use the dynamite. He didn't use the dynamite.
Nah.
So that was the fireworks.
I guess that was supposed to. It looks so silly.
I mean, like, it would be different if he had, like, you know, Roman candles, something like that. That's what he grabbed, and fine. But he grabbed dynamite, and there was no explosion except for the fireworks.
And how did he change from being a regular pilot into a burn victim in seconds? Because he ran into the room screaming.
That makeup looked like it would take time to put on.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't like he just put, like, a mask on. Like, that would take time, yet somehow, again, he had that somewhere that he was able to have enough time to apply that makeup, like, perfectly. And not for nothing, when he ran in there, like, you couldn't even see his face. Like, really, like, you only saw his burnt face at the end when he gets up. Like, you don't see it running in there. You don't see him on the ground. So it looked like he put a lot of detail into his face. Really wasn't that important.
And there was no reason for him to run in there. It didn't change anything.
It didn't change anything at all.
Leo gets shot just before that. And then that's when Leo gets up and he shows the effect and the way he did it, like the boom, boom. But then right at that point is when we know that when Silic and Neely are outside, and Neely's getting ready to shoot him, but he has the gun that doesn't, the fire blanks, and then the other guy right away, you would think like maybe he's like, oh, you piece of shit or something, like, hey man, hey, let's make it okay. No, he murders him.
Well, I mean, wait. The guy was going to kill him. I mean, so
you're
going to let that slide? You're not gonna let that slide.
I guess you
So-
kill him right away. Yeah, I guess that's
Okay,
what you do.
and then he escapes in the helicopter.
He does escape in the helicopter.
Okay, but he's not alone.
No.
Okay, so where was that the entire
Oh,
time?
I guess it was in the helicopter the whole time. I don't even know where the helicopter
How'd he
came
get
from.
it there? Okay, how'd he get it there?
I don't know.
That's
Where
what
did the
I
helicopter
mean. Like,
come from? Whose helicopter was that? Raleigh landed that. So is he a helicopter pilot too?
where did he get the helicopter from?
Yeah.
Right. But again, fine. He somehow found the helicopter, which I don't understand. Well, didn't he? Didn't no one know? No, I thought. Was there another? There was no other pilot in there in the helicopter.
No, we didn't see a pilot get offed or anything, unless they didn't show the scene and the pilot was the guy that was walking through the woods and got flipped over the springboard. But I don't know.
All right. So, but again, Raleigh's already there before the helicopter. So yes, where did he get the helicopter from? But
Yeah.
how'd the clown get on there? Like, where was the clown the whole time that he decided? First of all, why would he decide to bring the clown anyway? Like, did he think, like his plan worked out? I don't think it could have worked out any more perfect. Like every layer of his plan worked perfectly. Like, he's at home before this whole. He doesn't even know the layout of this house at all, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna hide this plank to make this guy springboard. I'm gonna have this thing for a pool table." What if they don't have a pool table? Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I think they're gonna have a pool table. You know, they might not have a tennis ball machine, but I'm gonna bring the hockey. Like, he had the whole layout of the place without ever being there.
Yeah. You know, for
So
a second,
dumb.
I thought the clown was actually flying the helicopter until he had the remote. But what was even crazier was when he was somehow able to have the suit on and grab the medallions. The clown had the medallions in his hand and jumped into the water.
The stuff the clown could do is amazing.
Yeah.
See, I would like to see a movie with the clown.
Just
Have the clown have just the clown. It's so ridiculous.
you know what? I bet you he has that clown.
You know what? I want. Is there credits for the clown? The guy behind the clown?
Oh, I don't know. Probably. The special effects guy in this movie is a big name, Eric Allard. But I don't know. No, I didn't look up who was the clown in the suit. But no, it was just so funny watching the clown because it was nobody in it. It was really just they dropped a dummy in the clown outfit, but it just like floated down.
I know.
Went into the water. So silly.
The stuff that he's able to do with that clown is just amazing.
And how about
He should work-
Denny? Yeah.
I was going to say he should work for the military and just make a bunch of clowns and take
dude,
on.
That's what I
it's
mean.
just-
That outfit should be the military. There should be no people going on foot
Correct,
into the
correct.
military. They should just have a suit. Somebody in
based
in a
on
room.
what he's been doing in this whole movie, there's nothing stopping this clown.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing stopping this clown. Are
Wait,
you calling?
how did he
are you
get-
calling Raleigh a clown, or are you calling this clown a clown?
Both. I mean, so the last time we saw the clown, it was wrapped around the killer in the water.
Oh no, they
Right,
got
through-
busted. It was broken. He fixed it. Because remember, it was laying on the couch, laying out, and you saw the inside. So
Oh, you're-
he fixed it in time. He had enough time.
okay.
In all
He had enough
this
time.
time
It's,
where he has no time, he has all the time.
I would really love to know the time frame in this movie because there
Oh.
seems to be a lot of things he's able to do in a very short
It's
amount
like
of time.
4 days.
If that. Because immediately when the guy left the prison, they went straight to the bad guys, the mafia's house.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Everything was in order. I mean, and it just seemed like maybe 2 days. Like it seemed everything, I don't know, just crazy. All right.
It was great. How about when Leo reveals the whole thing to Raleigh when he goes,
Oh.
"Oh, I switched the medallions," and he's like, "No, the mob was doing something good. They were going to return it to the Vatican." And dude, I gotta ask you, like Jamie's been to the Vatican, and she said the way it looked, like the shot. But do you think they really went there for that exterior shot? Because that'd be mind blowing for the budget to do that.
I don't know if you're allowed to really be. I don't know if you're allowed to film in the Vatican. So
Yeah.
I bet you, like any movie that has a Vatican, I bet you it's a prop. It's like set up because I don't know if you can actually bring cameras into the Vatican. It's so like sacred that
Yeah.
I don't know. So, but like they thought it was a good idea to put it in the basket where
I
they're passing
know.
around that anyone could reach in there and steal it
Yeah.
again.
The next guy's like, "Oh, cool."
I mean, so
Yeah.
and it's not like they didn't even try to bury it in there. Like, all right, you want to put it in the basket? Like, put it on all the money. No, they leave it right on top.
Right on top. And then I loved Leo, who was kind of upset with Rollie switching the coins. He was holding one back until Rollie gave him like a little, and then he dropped the other one. But it was just weird, that final exterior shot when they're talking about like, oh, what should we go to get eat? And he goes, oh, I can go for some Mexican. That's what Leo wants. But it was a weird shot because it was like, it looked like they were trying to steal a shot the way there was like a big master shot real far out. And it was just so bizarre. I'm like, do you think they really like Dennehy and Brian convinced them to friggin' go out there just to film for 5 minutes? Like,
and your last joke is asking, like, getting Mexican food in Italy.
But did you? So you didn't stick around for after?
I didn't see. I did not.
So it was the lieutenant still trying to fly the helicopter, but it was only like 5 seconds worth. I was hoping it would be like him, like, not saying I want to see like a crash or something, but it was like, it was the thing that was really funny about it, because it's almost like, is he still flying while they're in the Vatican? Like, has he been in the air?
Like, what's the time frame and what's going on?
Yeah. Oh,
that is
shit,
funny,
man. FX2, man. So that's it. Jamie, would you recommend people, obviously, not only to watch this one, but the first one?
I would recommend, if you're going to watch this, you have to watch the first one first. Just because, one, it's a better movie. It gives you more of a story of Leo, and I keep forgetting the character name for the main guy. What's his name?
Rollie.
Rollie, duh. So watch the first one, because the first one is definitely very. First of all, I'm surprised. They do all these remakes all the time. I feel like this could be a movie they could remake. With technology the way it is today and the special effects that they can use, this is a movie that I think they can remake. And I think it would work. And I'm surprised they haven't, because they keep remaking everything else. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a fun movie to watch. It's not a great movie, but it's entertaining, and it's entertaining enough that, you'll still enjoy watching it. But the first one, if I remember correctly, is way better, because I don't think they realized what they had with the first one. And it's such a unique way of a movie, like a unique story to use a special effects guy. So I think the first one is really above, what it was supposed to be, and then this one it's hard to follow up that first one, and I think that's what it is.
But they were able to like recapture the magic. But like we said, was there a lot of silly parts, like the food store and the clown and just how he McGyvered so much? But it was just still enjoyable. There wasn't one point I'm like, oh, this is so dumb. It was like, oh, this is dumb, but it was like, it was exciting.
Well, you know what it is. Well, I think part of the problem is that, the first movie, he sprinkles in the special effects, especially the end is like all the special effects, where I feel like the special effects in this movie were all forced at the end. Like, there wasn't a lot of special effects in the movie. So they're like, all right, this movie is called FX2. So let's, like, every kill at the end of the movie, let's just use a special effect. And so like it kind of took away the thunder of the first movie, where it was used to trap the bad guys. And like in a surprising way, like some of the scenes. So I think that's what part of the problem. Like, they almost made fun of itself, I feel, in this movie. Yeah,
man. So that was great. And then, like I talked about in the beginning of the episode, interviews are back. So the next movie we're gonna cover, I'm gonna actually put Jamie on the spot, because there's so many options with our next guest, who is a helicopter pilot. He has the world record for the highest altitude in a helicopter, Frederick North. Such a blast talking to him about his career, how he went from basically getting into the Navy in France, and then switching that career into working, on rally races all over the world. And then he's the go-to guy. Like, Michael Bay uses him for all the movies. He does all the Fast and Furious movies and so much more. He was a blast to talk with about his career, and he has a new book out. But Jamie, a couple movies on here. Taken 3? I feel like that's what we were thinking about doing for a while. The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Then there's a lot of Fast movies, but
okay. Well, let's fast forward the Fast movies.
Throw them out.
Yeah, throw them out. You know what? I mean, I've seen Taken 3 is such a good movie. I mean, well, I just say the Taken franchise is a good movie. I don't remember 3 as much. I think, I never saw The Mummy. So, yeesh. You know what?
Or
I
the
think
other
we
ones
gotta
are
do
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, the Michael Bay one that came out in 2016.
No, that's a cartoon, isn't it?
Well, no, it's like CGI with them, but Megan Fox
Yeah.
plays April O'Neil. Now let's go Taken 3. You know,
I think
'cause
we got.
gonna
I
cover
think we got
that-
to take it.
We're going to cover that with like DB, I think, but then his character got like. Remember, he like filled in for a character that got cut out of the second one.
Yeah.
And then he
Yeah.
wasn't even in the movie, so I think that works.
No,
And
I agree.
But he's worked on so many movies we've covered. It's crazy that he's like the go-to pilot in so much. Purge, Anarchy, a bunch of other ones. But yeah, Taken 3. So that's what we're going to cover next. So yeah, Fred North has some wild stories. Just how he got into the movie business. So that'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, so don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.